I'm Travis Mlakar. I'm the president and CEO of Millcraft Paper.
How did you find yourself in the paper and packaging industry?
So I guess the basic answer to that is I was born into it. I am the fourth generation of my family to be totally unemployable. And so I grew up in the industry. I worked here in the summers. I was a janitor working in our warehouse, and then I worked in our IT department. We had a deal in the family that I had to get a job and a raise somewhere else before you were ever allowed to come back into the family business. And so I did that, spent a few years in the banking industry, and then started up my own .com and did that for a number of years. And obviously, as part of that, the entrepreneurial bug bit me and bit me hard. And so seized on the opportunity to come back to Cleveland and get involved in the business, and had a wonderful opportunity working with my dad for a few years before I took over the business, and I'm trying to carry on what others started.
What is the most rewarding part about your current role as president of Millcraft?
I think the most rewarding part for me is, I would say, to see the people that I work with and work for on a daily basis. They put in so much effort and passion into what they do, and to see them find success after that investment of their time and energy. To me, that's the most rewarding thing, is to watch them win and for them to grow both personally and professionally on a day-to-day basis. That's really, for me, what gets me fired up and excited, to just see the growth, not only in our business, but the business only grows because the people do.
So, were there any points in your career up until now where you truly felt like you were receiving sort of a mentorship, if you will, and you felt that people above you at the time believed that you had the capacity to grow into a leadership role?
You know what? Since the moment I walked into this industry, I was blown away by the camaraderie within the industry and the willingness of people to reach out and help me learn and grow. I'll remember the first merchant advisory council that I ever was on. I was a young kid in the room and didn't know anybody, and was still trying to learn the business. And two people in particular, it was David McGee, who used to be with Mac Papers, and Don Clampett from Clampett Papers. They really pulled me aside, threw me into a booth in a restaurant, and said, "Okay, kid, who are you, and where have you come from?" And they welcomed me into the industry in such a way that I was just blown away and humbled. And throughout my career, I've had the good fortune of remaining in touch with them, and they have continued to be people that I reach out to find out what's happening and to learn from. And it wasn't just them; it was other people in the industry who did the same thing. And I was fortunate enough to have a mentor in a guy named Peter Vogel, who used to be the CEO of NewPage back in the day and CFO for Mead Westvaco back in the day. And people just went out of their way to help you, whether you were a competitor or not. They took a personal interest in making sure that, as an industry, if we all improved and learned and had a passion for it, we could really lift the whole industry up because of our excitement for it and our ability to recruit people into it. And so I've always found the industry just to be fabulous from that perspective.
So now that we are, everyone's starting to get vaccinated, slowly but surely, people are starting to reconvene in a business capacity, whether that means, returning to the office or having these in-person events and meetings. What are you most looking forward to as we begin our gradual return to normalcy?
I mean, honestly, it starts with getting people back into the office and being able to see customers and supply partners. There's a lot that we can do individually and remotely from a task management standpoint and kind of crossing things off the list. But there's no question in my mind that we're missing that intangible experience of being side by side and working with people. And candidly, whether it's the people that I work with or the customers that we work for, sometimes they can ask us for things because they know exactly what they want. But sometimes in that conversation, you can uncover things that they didn't know to ask or didn't really know what they wanted or needed. And it's that personal interaction, I think, where we have seen the opportunity for us to be so much better off as an organization and more efficient. And so just the ability to collaborate in person, I think is something that we've missed over the last year, and I'm really looking forward to getting back to that.
Well, can you speak to the importance of a merchant partner?
Absolutely. I think that you've used the right word, which is partner. I think there's two different definitions. There's a partner and there's a supplier. And when I view where we are successful and we deliver the most value, it's when people look at us truly as a partner, where our customers view Millcraft as an extension of their own business. We go out, we do due diligence on suppliers. We can come back and present a number of different options to our customers. We could talk about the pluses and minuses of any given manufacturer. We can look at supply chains. We can do a complete, thorough due diligence analysis to say, what are your risks if you go with this supplier versus this supplier? There are pluses and minuses with every different company and every different supply chain. And you may be able to get a lower price with a particular manufacturer or a particular supply chain, but there might be costs that offset that, whether it's added risk or added challenges of a long supply chain that you need to buffer with additional capital and inventory. So all of those things, I view a merchant's job as truly, on one hand, an extension of our customers, of their business, to go out and do that sourcing, that due diligence, come back and work with them on a consultative approach. But then I also view we answer to two different masters. So on one hand, we have our customers, and on the other hand, we have our suppliers. And if we're doing our job correctly, I think the value of a good merchant partner is we are the sales force for the manufacturers that we represent, and we can provide great insight to them from not only a market knowledge perspective, but also we can provide an understanding of where they fit against their competitors and other manufacturers in the market space, and almost do benchmarking analysis for them. How is their on-time delivery versus others? Do they match up well from a quality perspective? What's the rate of defects or challenges that they have? We can help them with market knowledge on pricing and positioning and those types of things. So I think a merchant partner is absolutely an integral part of bringing in an efficient manager true end user customers and manufacturers together.
Why is the paper industry still a relevant and vibrant industry today?
Yeah, so it's a great one. And I think it's easy because communication is still important. And when I look at our industry, we can call ourselves the paper industry, but really we're about the communication industry. And how do you communicate a brand? It used to be that we do that. A lot of companies did it through annual reports. Well, it's different now. Brands are now immersive experiences. And the paper industry and the print industry is absolutely critical in that graphic communication model for extending a brand, so that if I walk into a store, I should feel an immersive experience in being in that store with window graphics and wall graphics and floor graphics and just how the store looks and feels and the displays. All of that is part of our industry. I should walk into a grocery store and I can see how products and brands position themselves on a shelf. That's all part of our industry. And particularly in today's world, it's not just what you say and what you print on, but it's also the message that the substrates you choose, how does that communicate to your customer? Paper industry still is a fabulous opportunity for a renewable, biodegradable, recyclable substrate that we can use in the communication model. And to me, that's absolutely critical today, as more and more corporations are trying to be world citizens and elevate our sustainability and our overall thinking about the impact our decisions have on the world around us. The only advice that I would give to either people in the industry or people who are evaluating whether or not they want to come through the industry, and any of us can get a job, but few people are blessed with the opportunity to have a career. And this is still an industry where the personal relationships matter, a handshake matters, your integrity matters, and you can build a wonderful career that is meaningful and impacts the lives of a lot of people around you in the paper business. And I'll always feel that that's one of the great values we deliver to the people that are smart enough to join the industry.